several missing persons.
Yeah. I said pay 3 and to reward least within.
Apparently the village knows you to be a little bit sussy baka.
The hell
Yes.
did you just say?
It is a phrase from where I come from.
You know, on the Navy ship, sussy baka. That's just a real normal term.
Oh, do you see that thing on the horizon? It's a real sussy baka.
What does that word even mean? I don't even want to try to pronounce it.
Suspicious idiot?
Kind of.
Travis. 2, 3, 4. So a suspicious idiot?
Yes, Xanth is questioning you.
It means it's an iteration of suspicious.
So I will bring back
Although
Fortune Frontier.
the uneducated kind of suspicious.
So stupidly suspicious.
Reverse those words.
Naya Panorama.
Suspiciously stupid?
Yes,
Landfall
more or
trigger, I
less.
will get another cat, which is not happening.
That makes no goddamn
Anyway.
sense.
Well, this conversation is quite fascinating. As we told the sheriff, we're not aware of any of the details. Admittedly, none of those girls were sisters of... None of them were sisters. We know little about the disappearance and admittedly have no reason to understand why the village suspects us other than they don't particularly agree with our beliefs.
All but one of them are female. And they have told us that your order is mostly, if not entirely, comprised of females.
Sorry, I almost forgot to
Are you all related?
No, well, spiritually speaking, yes, but not biologically speaking. And yes, the sisterhood is predominantly a priesthood of women. Actually, not predominantly, entirely a priesthood of women. Though typically, when we are encouraging women to join the priesthood, we tend to be really respectful of their interest and their refusal if it comes. If I remember correctly, the only one that we had actively pursued was Knos, though was quite dedicated to the old religion and the old ways. Thus, we took our steps back and ensured that she was able to practice whatever faith floated her boat.
What's your order? What's your sisterhood about? Could you tell us more? The townsfolk were very hushed on anything other than negativity.
Yes, admittedly, they've shown little interest in understanding our particular ways, predominantly because High Priestess Breesis is not from this plane of existence. And our god, or goddess more specifically, is a bit foreign to them. Many people here worship, well, pantheons native to this plane of existence. Many of them were not pleased to be informed of other planes of existence either, though that's neither here nor there. Predominantly, it's a difference in religious ideology that led to a disconnect, and as more of their young women decided to join us, it became more clear to them that these newer ways might be favored over their ideologies. And change can be scary to some.
And what do you know of what is happening southeast?
Very little, other than what we've gotten from the few converts that come from that area, who flee what they describe as the darkness.
I pull out a vial of the bear ash. We ran into a creature that was oozing death, basically. and I show them the vial of what was left.
I'm afraid that
So here's what it is
I'm unfamiliar with this. You'll have to forgive me. I'm little more than a blacksmith's daughter. I'm even only a newer convert. I'm still in the early days of my priesthood, though if you would like, I could take you to High Priest and Priestess Briseus.
If she would seek an audience with us, that would be preferred.
Oh, she's quite friendly. I don't imagine she'd have any problem. Though, admittedly, we don't tend to allow men so deep within the convent. So if you would stay here, I can arrange an audience, but unfortunately, you are not welcome in the temple specifically.
Understandable.
Understandable.
Question, my character is extremely androgynous.
Yeah.
I
I think she's defaulting male in this case on the basis of like not really sure how this god is gonna feel about like what is predominantly like a priesthood of women welcoming somebody that like identifies in a more like gender fluid way into the thing. I know that sounds weird, but it's like
No,
for her, she's like, I'm not sure what we do here.
Yeah,
I
and
don't know what to do, so I'm just gonna let you sit here for a minute just so I don't get chewed out later.
Yeah, exactly. It's like better to
Better safe than sorry.
better to leave you with the men and go from there. Though you are welcome to ask her that if you would like.
I don't think Nocti would do that. I don't think that's something that would cross their mind.
Valid. It takes about 20 minutes for the woman to...
Before she comes, I feel like they didn't really answer what they did here. She repeated several times that it's a conclave of women, but they didn't answer what they are.
Considering she admitted that she was one of the new fledglings in the in this priestesshood. I don't know this.
Yeah.
Sisterhood.
It might be safer to ask that question from one of their elder figures.
Okay.
Any more role play between y'all? But then, like, I don't say that like sarcastically. I genuinely mean that.
Do I notice anything that is extremely not forest-esque? Anything that's super shiny? Anything that catches my eye that's
Roll a
man-made?
perception check.
While you're doing that, what about
I got a 1.
You're still like, man, like, she never answered my question though. You think like she signed up for this? You think she'd like
Yeah.
Rattle it
say something? You're a little distracted by that. What's up with you?
Jeff, basically while waiting, has been watching the crowds, or everyone walking by, seeing if there's any potential threats in all honesty. He doesn't know how they're going to react to him.
Roll an insight.
So, even if the
Trust red.
to survive, they are put in the form of stasis because they're not receiving demands or any actions. In this case, though, the dominus
16.
Yeah, like everybody seems almost unbothered, like they might give like a double take because the group is predominantly more masculine presenting, with the exception of Nocti, who's very like androgynous, but like leaning more masculine than like the femininity you're kind of seeing walking around. They might do a double take, but beyond that, they just kind of seem to be going about their day.
Their business like nothing.
Yeah.
We don't spark alarms.
Yeah, well, not to them anyways. Like again, other than that, like double take, and whether it's because they don't spark, you aren't sparking alarms, or they're just like not my place to say anything, is hard to gauge. But it takes about 20 minutes before a very tan woman with dark hair, kind of in 2 braids, with pointed ears, and a lot of white, almost ethereal markings on her face, hands, and neck comes. She's wearing the same kind of dark purple cloak, though you notice hers has some ornate golden embroidery around the basis of it, and this is kind of the general
How do you
image of her.
spell the name? Because I definitely butchered it.
Briseus. Breisis.
Okay.
Priestess.
Yeah, I butchered that spelling.
I'm sorry, it's just been stuck in my head. Priestess the priestess.
Xanth is over off to the side.
Two items.
Is a priest.
Ruler Gaffer.
Priest is the priest. Revolutionary!
As he's watching her out, you just see his brain go.
As they approach, or as she approaches, she's followed by Arabelle, the woman with the red hair, and Arabelle gestures at you guys, and Breisis kind of smiles. You notice that her eyes are sort of glazed over the way that like a blind person's sort of milky and white. And she smiles though, seemingly able to gauge where you guys are, seemingly having either some sort of vision or some other way to gauge visually where you're at. As she raises a palm, puts a hand on her chest, and gives like a little nod. Hail and well met, friends. Welcome to the Sisterhood of Ravens. My young priestess tells me that you have some questions.
What is the Sisterhood of Ravens about?
We are worshippers of Cassandra.
Who is that?
She's a goddess,
This is actually pretty
a
scary.
very powerful ancient goddess from whence all life came.
About this death in the southeast. To my understanding, from what the villagers back yonder have described, why have you not yet
Really,
launched
what I
an
had to do was
investigation
just
into
do
over
is I
it
can
takes?
easily answer.
Well, admittedly, that's not our responsibility. I don't say that to sound callous, but the king ought to be sending people to investigate. And
No,
our job is to shepherd those who are lost, to provide them with a home, support, and guidance. But it is not our place to intervene in matters much larger than our own depths.
Well, Miriam would have been out still. 3, 4.
Do you know about what's happening south?
Good God, he is expensive.
Yes, very little. Admittedly, we had a young priestess return a little bit before some refugees had, who was down there doing mission work.
What I did. Oh, she-
So do you know anything about
I'll show you what
creatures
my phone was
oozing death?
at.
Yes, though admittedly, I'm not sure why you would seek those answers here.
Many places in town did not seem like they had any want or know-how of anything unusual.
She chuckles and nods. Admittedly, you could fill a library of tomes with the things the people in Vaith are unfortunately unaware of and uneducated about. I, as somebody who's traveled many planes, have quite a bit of knowledge. However, why you would think I would know such things is, as you can imagine, slightly cause for concern on my end, given the townsfolk tend to share very little about me and
You are a person of power and importance, are you not? And that's the only reason, to protect your sisterhood, or, you know, if you knew something of that statue, not to accuse, of course. It just, you would be the person in charge, so you would have the know-how of things.
yes and no. I am as much a servant as even the newest of priestesses in the sisterhood. My power is entirely that of knowledge, as opposed to
I would be unkillable.
some immense cosmological power that would allow me to smite down my enemies and solve world hunger. But yes, I suppose I am a person of import to
It's
the sisterhood.
your life.
You said traveled the plains.
No, it's,
Yes.
yeah.
Cassandra is not a god native to evil, which is perhaps why people are so hesitant. That and given some of
That's
her
what my life is at.
My response?
more darker
No,
inclinations.
but Tristan was gross. I had Joe out. And Tristan was out.
Oh yeah, because then it would enter, Juggo would make him big, just on games.
And we're gonna pause there and go to our other group so they're not sitting here for 30 more minutes.
You're fine.
So Kraosis,
Oh,
Buddha,
Yes.
who do you go to first?
I'm thinking we start with the most recent and work our way down, because they'll hypothetically have better memory of what's going on.
All right, and the first one on your sort of list is Panos, who you were informed to seek out. It's somewhere in there. We go. Sorry, I'm going through a million towns because
Wandering Pixie.
yes, the Wandering Pixie. And lucky for you, you're basically right outside the Wandering Pixie at the job boards, and you're told to see Cade. So how do you guys go about going into the Wandering Pixie and finding Cade?
Because I had like a shit ton of
Did the barkeep tell us their name?
31 word soldiers.
So technically you guys didn't talk to the barkeep. I was wrong about that.
Oh,
It was
okay.
Igor who gave you that information. You guys haven't even entered the Wandering Pixie yet.
Okay.
But you do have rooms there. Sunstorm did make sure of that.
Okay. So, good cop, bad cop?
Evilest thing I've ever done to someone.
I was just gonna go in there and ask him.
Evilest thing I've ever done.
Works for me.
was what I did to Ethan.
Okay, go ahead and describe how you come in and ask for Cade. Like I want the visual of your big giant Goliath ass barging into this bar, being like, "Where's Cade?"
The giant Goliath, the little dwarf.
Yeah.
Like, it's human. I don't know, but
Right, Sean's the Goliath. You're just a very large human.
yes. I'm just gonna open the door softly and just.
Our gentle giant.
Who's Kate?
The barkeep kind of looks up, along with everybody else in the bar, but the barkeep kind of looks up and he raises his hand. Hi, that'd be me.
Only can build up
Cool. Me, nobody here got
or
questions.
answer enough.
He's the questioner. I'm just.
Are you gonna make a comment?
Well, it's a.
Sorry to interrupt.
So what I'm
We were examining the job board.
maybe on machine print,
You hear about Panos?
Yes.
mono red foil.
Is there any information you can provide as to if Panos was doing anything that seemed out of the ordinary at the time of their disappearance?
I somewhat understand what you're saying.
No,
It's our format. I just don't understand how far back.
She
Standard is.
spent most of her time at the church recently. Given this time last year, she was starting to develop a bit of magic that she wanted
So I
to
can make
harness.
ones where it works in multiple formats.
Is there more than one church in town?
Because
No,
I don't want to have.
we just
one
have a
that
simple
exists.
steeple to worship the old gods. The clerics there are some of the only magic users in the area. And, she feared that if she didn't spend time starting last year when she saw that magic developing, if she didn't spend time with those who could, she wouldn't be able to control it. More than that, that she would be unable to ensure safety.
All three of those formats.
So she started going to church a lot more. The nights she went missing, she was heading to leave an offering. Admittedly, the only strange thing that had been happening is she was spending quite a bit of time with
And the oil.
some of the priestesses from the
is in
sisterhood.
rotation for all three
Uh,
formats.
Mostly just in communication, asking questions about magic, as their magic seemed a little bit different than the clerics at the church, and she was curious if her magic was more like theirs or like the clerics, but truthfully, she would go to church and she'd come home. She was a good girl.
Has she ever been interested in the church before?
As much as any young girl here in town. We'd often, we'd go on services and holidays, and her mother was much more religious than I. When her mother passed a couple years ago, she went through a bit of a bout where she didn't much like going, but she got back into it about a year ago when the magic started showing.
Well, we're sorry to hear about your loss.
I got you right.
To the best of your knowledge, were the other missing girls developing magic at the time of their disappearances?
Oh, I don't know. A lot of people around here, if you start developing magic, they tend to keep it quiet. They're
No,
Why such a distrust of magic?
Bad.
I changed that spell.
Admittedly, it's not so much bad, but typically the experience that we have with magic users is one of two kinds. Strangers from foreign lands who have no interest in our small town, but realistically are dangerous in their own right. And the clerics of the church. That seems like an awful gamble to take when you see somebody using magic, don't you think?
Even if it's a child that's grown up within the city their entire life.
We believe that the gods give magic, one way or another, for one purpose or another. Can't always guarantee. Even the people you know the best have the capability of doing the most horrendous things. I mean, somebody's snatching up girls. One of them being my daughter. How am I supposed to respond? If you find her, please bring her home. Whatever the cost, you can have it all at the bar for all I care. Just, she's all I have after my wife.
Does she have a room here, or do you have a house?
I have a house. You're more than welcome to investigate her room, though I doubt you'll find anything the sheriff hadn't already looked for.
I was just curious if she had a journal of any kind, something along those lines.
Honestly, I'm not sure. I've always respected her privacy. She's 18 now. Surely she deserved a little bit of privacy.
If you don't mind, would it be alright if we took a look around the house?
By all means, the door's unlocked.
Okay.
Just up the road, and take a right, and it's the first house on the left.
Thank you very much for your assistance.
I have actually a really terrible.
I'm sorry for disrupting you all.
Sorry, guys. Just had to find somebody. Do you go straight to Kate's house, or do you go?
Are any of the other people on our list like between point A and point B kind of thing?
It's hard to gauge because you don't exactly know the layout of the town.
Okay.
But as you're walking, roll me a perception check.
So that's 15 plus.
I can go talk to more people if you want to search that.
Not the newer card, but not the older card.
Well, that depends on if your ability to search is better. So that's going to be 16 total.
Yeah, as you're heading towards the house, you see sort of a place that's on your list called Advanced Armaments. It's sort of a blacksmith shop, and that is on the list for a Dawn Lynx 16 female, and you're supposed to see a stain.
Okay. Would you like to run into Advanced Armaments, and I'll head up to the house and see if I can't find a journal?
Cool. Let's start with you, because you're already there. You walk in, and there is, it's a pretty straightforward blacksmithery. You can kind of see the open back area where you hear hammering away. There is a young woman with blonde hair, kind of bobbed, going through what looks to be almost a magazine as you enter. Welcome to Advanced Armaments, where we've got all your armoring needs. How can I help you?
What's the name of the person I'm supposed to be talking to?
A stain.
I am looking for a stain.
Do you have an appointment?
No, it's best not
That's
doing it.
the last.
I think you went there and not me.
We're like 3 weeks out for any custom armor, so if it's urgent, you might have to go to the city.
It's not about us, it's about investigation.
A stain. She kind of like goes to the door that leads to the open back area. Somebody is here for you. He says it's urgent, I guess. I don't know. He says it's not about armor, which to me just seems like weird. Why would you go to an armory if it's not about armor? And a stain kind of comes back, and he's an older man, but big, muscular. You can see the silvering of his hair, the burly bushiness of his beard that has got little singe marks. And he's got goggles up, and he's wearing like a leather apron. And you can see some burn marks on his arms for years of armoring. As he kind of comes out and looks at you. Oi! If it's urgent, you might want to speak.
Did I find out
Dawn's not my daughter, she's my granddaughter, but yes. Do you have word? Have you found her?
I know, but we're currently looking, and that's why I need to talk to you. Do you have any information you can share that?
It happened so fast. Night, she said, Granddad, I'm heading to the Face Keep. Or not Face Keep, I'm heading to the Wandering Pixie. Sorry, they changed their name a few months back. But they're heading to the Face Keep, and I'm just gonna dance with some friends. And see her again.
sorry, do you know if she started developing any magic of sorts?
It's an interesting question, but yes, not developing so much, but since she was little, she had this ability. If somebody was hurt, she could touch it. It would heal. You could see like a glowing behind her hands. It's like a miracle happening beneath her fingertips. She wanted to open a clinic with her abilities. You know, I knew people were going missing when I told myself staying. You know, she's 16. She's almost an adult. You have to loosen the reins. You know, it's a small town. You know, the other 4, they must be coincidences. Girls getting lost, running away, joining the sisterhood, something. But she wasn't at the sisterhood when they looked. And she wasn't the type to run away. She didn't want to go to Esteron or anywhere else. She wanted to be here to use those abilities to help the townsfolk.
Did she have? If you know of anything, is there anything she like tried keeping from you?
Now you're getting around. Okay.
That might come to this investigation.
She told me everything. She told me about boys she was seeing. She told me about heartbreaks, about good friends. I know she was supposed to be going and meeting Gwyneth. Both went missing that night. But she was very honest with me. A lot of kids their age try to hide their magic, but she never feared it. She said, Pappy, this is a gift from God, and I have an obligation, a duty to use my magic to help the people. If they fear it, perhaps I can help them. She's honest about everything. For God's sakes, I mean, she'd sit for hours and couldn't get the girl to shut up.
Fair enough. Thank you for your time. Also, your co-worker here seems to have a bit of an attitude.
Yeah, that's why I like her in these times. She knows how to tell people to fuck off when I'm too busy.
Understandable with good. It works.
When you've got as much work as I do, people who turn around because of a bad attitude certainly will save me the effort of trying to put in extra hours.
Fair enough. That attitude ain't nothing new to me, so have a good day, sir.
Too, and if you get any word of Dawn, please tell her I'm not mad. I just want her home.
Will do.
You get to Kate's house, and as he said, the door's unlocked. It's small, kind of humble, but despite the cleanliness of the Wandering Pixie, you can tell, and despite the man's demeanor, that he is not well. This house is unkempt. It is a mess. It looks, I mean, you can see shattered beer bottles that have been thrown against walls. You can see curtains ripped off. You can tell that, like, this is the home of somebody who's recently had a fucking meltdown. Mm-hmm. There is a narrow staircase upstairs. Not upstairs. There's a narrow staircase that leads to the upstairs. Mm-hmm. And the house kind of smells like, you know, half-eaten, left-behind meals, leading you to believe that his daughter probably did a lot of taking care of him after their mom died.
Yeah.
What do you do?
His calories were primarily beer. So first I'm going to find the daughter's room and just kind of glance over what kind of condition the room is in. If it seems like he has completely avoided that area entirely, if it's been kind of the shut the door and everything's the exact way she left it, or the place is also torn apart.
The room looks, it looks like a pretty traditional young woman's room. There's, you know, stuffed animals on the bed, but everything seems pretty tidy and put together. You can tell there were some investigation. Ah, shit, I did forget my birth control. No, I didn't, I brought it.
That's going to be an 8.
Yeah, like you can see some drawers that seem hastily put, like closed, but it's hard to gauge if it was just she did that or somebody searching the room. You know already that the sheriffs have searched the space for information. So it's kind of, it's not like, it's not disheveled, nobody's turned it upside down or thrashed it, and it almost looks like it's been unentered in some time.
Okay, then I want to do kind of the same thing with Cade's room.
Yeah.
of just kind of glance over and see if he's spending all of his time just in the living room drinking, or if he's.
Roll me another investigation check.
That one's going to be 15.
This room looks untouched. It's clean. The bed is made. There is, nothing in there, leading me to believe he probably hasn't brought himself to bring himself upstairs, given the state of the downstairs.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to go back to the daughter's room and look in. I'm going to make the assumption that the sheriffs have looked in all the obvious places, and so I'm going to be like looking under the mattresses, looking. I don't know if there's like vents in the walls, anything like that, any kind of crazy holes.
Give me another investigation check.
13.
As you're, also give me just a straight D20 really quick.
Natural 20.
Okay. That's a hell of a luck check. As you're searching, you lift the mattress and you don't see anything under there. You're looking in all these places. You're like, if I were an 18-year-old girl, where would I hide stuff?
Uh-huh.
You're looking in vents. You're kind of checking drawers. But you kind of luck out at one point as you're stepping over a very basic rug. You hear a floorboard creak, and the rest of the floorboards have not done that. When you move the rug to kind of see what's up with that, because that strikes you as odd. Like usually if it's like multiple floorboards, it would be just one. And you notice that there is sort of a floorboard that's slightly lifted up. And you kind of are like, this is a hiding spot. And you pop it open and you find a journal.
Okay, so I'll open the journal and kind of flip back to the most recent.
Cool. Are you skimming it or are you thoroughly reading it?
I'll thoroughly read.
Give me an intelligence check.
That's going to be a 9.
Yeah. So, for whatever reason, you're kind of really struggling to read her handwriting. It's this very long, elaborate, curly cursive. So it's a little bit of a slow read, and sometimes you're like, I don't even know if I got that word right. Mm-hmm. But the gist of it is that it seems that Panas has been questioning where her magic is coming from. And with all of the trauma and the sorrow in her life, some of the things that the priestesses that her father had mentioned, who are listed by name as Carmina, Estelle, and Soraya. Some of the things they're saying about the magic that is often bestowed by the goddess Cassandra tend to fit her magic better than the magic of the clerics. And that's leading her to a lot of self-doubt.
Does she describe her magic in any way?
Not in that passage.
Okay. So with that, I will close up the journal and stick it in my cloak to take with me and return the room to the state that I found it.
You just kind of basically put the rug, make sure
Yeah, make sure the floorboard is back down if I pulled it up.
Roll me a performance to see how well that room gets put back.
Okay.
Riosis stole
15, so 16.
Yeah, like it's passable. Like unless somebody kept like a detailed list of like my mattress was 45 degrees tilted to the left off the bed frame.
Unless
My
somebody
rug was
mapped it
at a
out.
perfect 90-degree angle perpendicular to the dresser. Like nobody would notice that. It's all very subtle signs.
Mm-hmm.
That would be so cool.
And then I'd like to do the same kind of look over Kate's room.
Give me another investigation roll.
Oof, that's gonna be a 3.
For the most part, you kind of look in the same places. You might step on floorboards just in case, but you don't really find anything. The only thing that stands out to you is there is a picture, which is a little technologically advanced, do you think, for the rest of the area, of a woman who looks a lot like the long dark-haired girl in the picture with Kate.
Is she wearing any particularly unique jewelry, anything like that?
The daughter or the mother?
Both.
The daughter is wearing a necklace that has sort of a Celtic-looking cross on it.
So we have Sir
And
Otto
so-
Merced.
Well, I'm going to operate on the assumption that that's probably something she continued to wear, and I'm just going to
Yes. You
make
also
that.
notice that there is a ring.
You watch your
Okay.
video after the video is over, so it calls
And it's a very simple black ring with a singular diamond stone.
The Ring? Have you not seen that movie? Have you not seen Scary Movie 3?
I've seen 5.
3 is the best one.
Arguably,
I haven't seen any of them.
You need to watch them.
I've watched The Ring, but I've never seen any of the scary movies.
So with that, I will kind of make mental notes of what their jewelry looks like and things. Primarily thinking of, if I have to identify a body kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then proceed to exit the building and walk back towards.
Cool. And we'll say you two finish up and meet out about the same time. We're going to pause there, go back to the sisterhood. So Breezes gave you a little bit to think about in terms of, especially with some of the darker natures of the goddess, and that's part of why the city has a bit of a discomfort with them. Do you guys ask any more questions?
I thought of a really good question when he was going through that journal. Has anyone by chance left your sisterhood in a bad way, or did they have, per se, a heretical view on this?
Admittedly, not from this encampment. Though about 7 years ago, we had a high priestess who had gone a little bit mad. She was, well, this was a different plane of existence. So she was a priestess in creation who believed that darker aspects of Cassandra, her as a representative of grief and sorrow and passing, she had a belief that Cassandra wanted all of creation to enter darkness and to find their way into their next life, because life is sorrow, and to end life is to end that sorrow. She was excommunicated. We tried to get her help, but unfortunately, she took her life.
And you're certain that she's dead?
Not exactly bad though.
As certain as you can be that anyone is dead, though what lies in the great beyond is a varied and lively fate amongst fates.
What was her name?
That's a great question. Keep asking questions. Stay curious.
I may not have very many ideas, but I have good ones.
I don't know.
Admittedly, she was quite old, and was predominantly known as the Dowager. At a certain point in your priestly journey, you were given a title and referred to as that, as opposed to any more name.
Okay. Was she also a Walker of Worlds?
Yes, actually.
He's actually sort of broken things. He doesn't like.
Though she didn't planeswalk away.
He doesn't know his
That's
eyes.
what you're curious about.
His eyes, like, not his eyes.
What she believed that everything needed to die and go back to the
Yes. Specifically, she was consumed by the allure of the Well of Anansi. Supposedly, this well connected people to the realm of darkness that exists between life and death. The nothingness, essentially.
Was at 34, so.
And, well, she believed that she had found the Well of Mency and spent
Let me recount this.
centuries
Most likely,
staring
you
into
got
it, eager to learn about it and understand Oblivion, that region that we were talking about.
24, 25 damage. You said how much life?
Believed the well led to the mouth of it. She
I said
spent
counter, I'm so
centuries gazing into it, trying to gain an understanding. However,
So I'm pitching the show first.
given that the
That
well
is exile.
is sort of
And a
an
six.
intersection of all
That's what
states
happens
of
on
being,
a-
all worlds and all possibilities, she naturally went mad and believed that she was hearing the goddess Poseidon speaking to her. And her belief was that the goddess wanted her to get all of creation into the well.
3, 4.
That's funny.
Would Nocti know anything about the in-between?
Roll me a, let's call this an Arcana check.
19.
You have heard the term Oblivion before.
Tap this.
It is what the Dryads believed awaited those who passed. It's like the eternal darkness of nothingness that awaits all who die. The Dryads aren't particularly fond of afterlife sentiments in terms of like heaven or hell or purgatory or reincarnation. Like their belief is when you die, there is a nothingness, a darkness that is the oblivion.
Hold on. You'll find a harder.
I sat on the foot, and that was a bad choice for me.
Yeah. Good?
Is everything okay?
Still like Starburst. We're gonna catch for a minute. Any other questions that you guys ask Breezes?
I have a reacher. That is indestructible. With 8 power at combat.
Oh, 8 power?
I asked Breezes about their markings
Power and toughness.
because in the royal court, many Fae had. I mentioned that of the court of the royal Fae that many people had markings such as yours.
No, I'm just
Do they have any meaning?
just my alert.
And does she know that the court of the royal Fae is on another planes?
Blocking the fire.
Yes. I am quite aware, given that I am part Fae myself, or at least in this life I am.
Yeah, he still gets his ability.
And the markings are a sign of my nobility, I suppose you could say, though that life I have walked behind.
But I'm paying all.
Okay.
But yes, quite familiar with. Hold on. Hold on. Bear with me, everybody, as I pull up the planer guide. Because, you know, we have a million things to keep track of.
The second question, the planes one, was an out of game, like investigation. Like, do I catch anything off of her face, knowing when I say that? Because we haven't said anything about us being planeswalkers as well.
Insight.
Yeah, it's +1 +up is still 4 tough.
Insight. 10.
Yes, helps, sort of. You might as well visual survive, so that's
Walkers for a hot minute. It's like,
You see a slight raise of her brow. What that means is really hard for Nocti's sort of I've been sheltered all my life brain to process what that might mean. As she goes, as she explains, yes, I'm part Fae. I grew up in a Fae nobility, and I've left that life behind. And she goes, but yes, a craven.
You wanted me to not
Yes.
swing, so I'm not going to swing unless you ask me.
And I'm assuming you are. And she kind of looks for a moment.
Not that. Where
I got a d20 somewhere.
you play rare creatures that can't swim.
I am assuming you are
Block me.
part Dryad.
Yes.
You can tell. You still have the smell of the forest.
True.
So in all reality, it doesn't matter.
Nocti does a kind of a little like a and then gets really like sullen at the same time. And then goes quiet.
But she doesn't push any further. So if she's kind of put together that you guys are planeswalkers, as opposed to whether or not there are dryads here, she doesn't let on to. Is there anything else that I can help you with? I apologize that I can't be of more use in terms of the investigations, but admittedly, I rarely myself go into town, and predominantly we send the 3 missions.
So that just means I can't like cast incidents targeting it.
And if like
I don't think I have any other questions for.
Say that it says
Thanks again for your ticket.
abilities can still affect
And we wish you the best.
Please, by all means, come back and if you are investigating this, I hope that the goddess Cassandra guides your hand and leads you to get these girls safely home. And should not, that you can give them proper rest.
Before we leave, I dig around in my bag and I pull out a dried petal of one of the royal lilies of the Fae Court and I give it to them.
She reaches out, and again, despite that like milkiness that would lead you to believe she is blind, she takes it and she gives it a smell and she goes, thank you. Kind reminder of home.
And then
Did you miss the part where she just admitted she was Fae nobility?
No.
Oh, okay. I was like,
We didn't
shocked
miss
by
that.
this. I'm like,
We
you
didn't miss
okay,
that,
bro?
but it was the whole a sweet reminder of home.
so I'm gonna make a.
There could be some connection there.
Party deck. Party commander.
Don't play all your cards.
Huh?
Don't play all your cards kind of thing.
Or do fuck it. Who knows if you even have any cards, honestly.
Dude, I
got cards.
tapped out 0 cards in hand with power spells. At this point.
are we leaving then?
Yeah.
As we leave, I give the bow that you would give to the royal court and let her know if she ever needs to call upon the forest and I'll be there.
She chuckles. Child, I'm not nobility anymore. As I said, I left that life behind quite some time ago. I'm simply a humble servant.
Still, you have the air about you and you lead everyone here. To them, you are the highest authority they could have, and I offer you my assistance if needed.
Greatly appreciated. And says, and like the dryad comes. The first she was little dryad. All right, back to you. Are we going anywhere else?
Yo, so I got some information to spill to you.
Okay, go ahead.
Blacksmith's daughter, young age, had like this healing. Like you're a paladin, right? So you
Yeah.
can lay on hands,
Yeah.
that sort of thing. And one night she went with a friend to like, the local escape spot, and that was it for them.
Well, interestingly enough, I found the journal for our missing girl. And sure enough, she was visiting with the Sisterhood and felt her magic was more aligned with theirs. Shall we visit one more before we head back to the group just to confirm that all of our missing girls were developing magic?
So
we'll just go to Kadro? Kadiro?
Yes.
Okay.
Kadir.
You're
Kadir is located where again?
Earthly Elixirs.
Yes. So you head to Earthly Elixirs, which is kind of on the other side of town, but not. I mean, it's not a big town. I mean, it's smaller than Rock Springs. Let's be real here. And you notice that the door, like the sign of the shop, says "close" if it's about posting. Come around back. And as you head around back, you see the stairs that lead up to like sort of an upstairs apartment, like somebody would have living among their business.
Okay.
I'm assuming y'all knock.
Yeah.
I know, like in D&D, there's like assumed actions. Like I never
Yeah.
need you to express to me that you like
We don't kick the door down.
drew your weapon, but like you know, it's better to make sure that he doesn't bust through the door and you guys
Yeah.
knock. A little girl about the age of 7 or 8 kind of peeks out. Hello? And she's eye level with you, and then kind of looks up. Whoa, you guys are different heights.
Here we are. How are you?
I just chuckle.
I'm sad. My sister's been gone for a while.
Is your mom around?
Yeah, come in.
I feel that.
Wait, and she kind of closes the door again. What's my mom's name?
Freewin?
Mary?
Freewin. That's right, Mary. That's what you do when you're in love with somebody. That's not a name.
That's not a name. Jeez.
First of all, kid, Mary with M-A-R-Y, not M-A-R-R-Y.
I still don't know my letters, but I know that you're wrong. And she opens the door and lets you in. And a woman with long, dark hair that kind of goes down to her ass comes out. She's very petite and small, and her eyes are red and puffy. And she goes, Mirabelle, who's at the door? There's this like short guy and this tall guy and this tall guy who was like, I'm here to marry. And I was like, you can't get married. I don't know you. And I'm like this many. And he was like, but it's a name. And I said, no, it's not. And then he spelled it me, Mom.
Man, your child has some attitude problems sometimes.
We must protect this child with our lives.
Yes.
Freewood
Good luck with that.
at you two and kind of go set the table. It's almost supper. And the little girl kind of looks back. I'm watching you.
As you should.
I'm gonna go set the table now.
That's a bit creepy.
Table spelled with a B.
Yeah?
That's a letter I know.
And you're short.
Yeah, but I'm only 6. I'm gonna be taller than you even.
I wouldn't be surprised if you're shorter than him.
I'm gonna be 35 feet tall. How tall are you? That's nothing.
You won't be that tall.
This isn't a battle you're
Are
gonna
you
win, man.
threatening
Just let
me?
it
It's
go.
like she pops up. Are you threatening me?
You wanna go?
My mom has kitchen knives.
Please tell me.
I've been stabbed before. What
And then you
then?
watch as she points her finger at you. And you, can I get a con save?
Did they have like a deck or anything outside that we walked up? Or is it
You
just
have the
like
stairs and just like the little.
just a little like 2
Low roll.
by 2?
I love that your character just gets into fight with kids.
You feel like a little shock. It's kind of like static electricity to you. And you're only going to take 1 point of damage because she rolled like minimal. She rolled the bare minimum of 2. And her mother kind of puts her arm down and, you know, she goes, Mirabelle, I told you not to use that on people, especially not strangers. He started it. He said he was going to take me out at the knees. And I don't even know what kind of restaurant the knees is.
This child's brain process is adorable, and I love
These
it.
are the middle of the leg. I'm gonna snap them backwards.
You can't do that.
Not yet.
She goes to point at you again, and her mother grabs her.
Grab your
I go set the table, and she like ushers her away quickly.
I apologize for my friend.
I apologize for Mirabelle. She's been out of sorts with dear Camille.
No, this is
Camille.
So, sorry. To be straightforward, I'm assuming your other daughter had magical powers and then she disappeared.
You, as he's saying daughter, recognize that the posting says male. That Mirabelle is saying her sister is missing, and that the mother just corrected herself with name.
Okay.
Yes, but she responds to you with. You say that again?
So,
but it only chooses a creature.
Yes.
assuming your other daughter had magic like the squirrel over there, and then eventually she just ended up disappearing.
Like the Squirtle.
Bolster this
I
guy,
just
spell
squirted.
6 count.
Oh yeah.
Squirrel's my favorite Pokemon. I don't like the scary part.
Clear
So
Pokemon.
he's a.
It is, see? Squirrel.
Yeah, it's the starter.
It's one of the three
Oh, yeah.
starters.
The Gen 1 starter.
And the best
Commander
one.
and Bulbasaur.
Yes and
I
no.
will fight all of you. That is not the best starter.
Then fight me, you shall.
But yes, it's the best first gen starter.
Mr. Mime.
You're horribly outvoted.
But
No.
yes, Camille had a little bit of magic, mostly with potion making, though sometimes when driven to large emotions, she could do
The shock.
I'm not really sure what it's called. Admittedly,
Some kind of basic alchemy.
well, the potion making similar with the. I'm not really sure what it is. We had opted not to look into it. Camille
Here's what I'm doing.
was already dealing with a lot of other things and grossly uncomfortable in a lot of other ways, and decided it was best to keep their magic under wraps.
So, above table, is alchemy considered magic to the people of this town?
Seemingly, yes.
Okay.
And you would know, like, there's some magic that goes into potion. Actually, roll me a history check.
Can I give him the Albachian?
17 plus something, if I can find history.
History
Plus
is your
3, so
intelligence.
20.
Yeah,
30,
dirty 20. So you know that at least in Zaudath, where you're from, there are classes that go beyond classes of war and magic, which is essentially like your paladins, your rogues.
Yeah.
They are called classes of hand and land. And they are magic wielders who are able to imbue magic into things like food. They are people who are able, blacksmiths, who are able to imbue and enchant, not on the basis of like traditional magic users like wizards or sorcerers, but in a different way.
Like Mirabelle's mom.
What?
Whenever she makes a pastry or something.
I didn't hear the name.
Mirabelle's mom from Encanto?
Yes, very similar to Mirabelle's mom in Encanto, where like these people can make food that will restore health points. They will make, you know, like the hand and land classes that cook can make food that will boost, you know, like above table we call it your dex score, but make you faster and more nimble. Blacksmiths can make armor that is impenetrable by even like the sharpest.
Well, they have the same toughness.
Like farmers or agriculturists, botanists, that's the word I'm looking for, are able to grow fruits and vegetables that are magically imbued. And so, well,
Big up
they're
potatoes.
clearly counting good alchemy as a form of magic. You know that that is very likely a result of this having a similar kind of magical system in that sense.
Okay. So, operating on that assumption kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, man, would you happen to have like the same-ish abilities as your
Yeah, and you're
daughters?
saying, if anyone survives this one, I just get them out of treasures.
So,
Is that pertinent?
one of these days I want to do a party.
Just morbid
So
curiosity.
what party is each person
Curiosity
is
killed
a
the cat
member,
and all
right?
that. And
And they have like.
that's just something that comes to us all eventually. So,
Meta, do you call it Bruno?
It's
Yes, to an extent.
so
Though
should we, like, do it?
by a refusal to use it, I have lost a great deal of my aptitude
So
for it.
right now, one of the reasons I don't do D&D is because
uh,
I'm trying for
your
it.
daughters, maybe not the squirrel,
Yeah, no,
but
like we do. No, it's not together.
the one that was
We have to have
missing
someone be like.
was
Shadir, Camille,
monsters, like
Camille.
terrifying.
sorry, this is all very new.
Dex around a certain class.
Has she tried like keeping under wraps like you have?
I would actually.
Yes and no.
Personally, I think
Some friends,
with what you and I can do,
like Panos,
keeping her, like, be
knew.
my wizard class.
They were going out to
Yours is
celebrate.
bad.
Did they happen to be going to the Wandering
So,
Pixie?
I actually
Yes,
want-
Panos and
That's the biggest
Camille.
creature. What do you
Camille was
call
just
it?
very excited that me and her father were so accepting as she came out to us
yes. Hold on.
with the name change and everything.
Will.
So they wanted to go celebrate. She'd been a little fearful of how we might respond given that our response to the magic building wasn't exactly the most positive. They were going to the Wandering Pixie together, or that's at least they told me. And
Did Camille and Panos disappear at the same time?
yes.
Once we're finished, talk to you.
Absolutely. So, did your daughter have a journal, anything along those lines that we might be able to take a look at?
If she did, I wouldn't know where it is.
Did we look in her room?
If he was out, it'd be fun.
Maybe
Are you actively looking for my daughter?
Yes, we are.
Then by all means.
So, I'll step away and leave him to ask questions and go search the daughter's room.
You ask questions. Don't get in a fight with the child. I'm gonna go look for another child's privatest thoughts and intimate details of their life. I love when you do stuff like this with predominantly masculine parties because it's like I'm sitting here and I'm like, oh god, you never go through a girl's journal, and men are like, I don't give a shit. I'm gonna read that little girl's thoughts. I'm gonna go through her panty drawer and see if the girl's on there. I don't give a fuck. Most presenting people have no concept of what it means to like be a 16-year-old girl putting your deepest thoughts in a journal. They're like, it can't be that bad.
Nope, it was that bad. I shouldn't have read it.
Losing my virginity. Also, I'm very sad today.
I have this one dream about Jeremy from the football team.
He touched me in a part of my body, but it felt good, and I don't know what that means. So you go give me another investigation check for the room.
That's my answer to him.
15, 17.
As you're kind of searching the room, you kind of luck out in that it's almost in a very like obvious place. As you lift the mattress, you see it kind of taped there, and you can tell that this is a woman who has very recently come out as a feminine person because this room is very masculine. It's got some random touches of pink, some things that have been brought in. Even the journal is like a very rugged seeming leather-bound gendered fucking journal. I mean, like, you know, we don't gender journals, but like the people who do gender them. And this is a journal for a rugged outdoorsman type to take notes about the smell of gasoline and how many, sort of, but more masculine. That's a little bit fantasy. This looks like some dude's gonna take notes about how many pisses and shits he took in the wood that week.
So something like this.
Yeah, more like your worn ass wallet. How do you go about?
So, same idea as before. I'm going to flip to the latest entry and just give it the best read I can.
Love that. So the give me that intelligence check.
Man, I am not good at reading. It's going to be 5. Right?
I'm starting to think maybe your character's a little illiterate.
Well, I mean, he is dyslexic.
There you go. Like some sort of dyslexia or some literacy issues. This handwriting is fucking gorgeous and beautiful, and maybe that's part of it because it's not as curly and scurvy, but it is very like slanty and like, you know, little hearts for eyes and stuff. And you do essentially discover that this journal entry is mostly about Camille's relief that her mother and father took the news of her coming out very well, that she's starting to feel she really has a future, and that she's really starting...
So she like came out night of, went out to drinks and disappeared.
Yeah. Like that she's really starting to feel that she has a future. She's feeling more comfortable and confident in her skin. But you do know that she mentions that she's really looking forward to go out to the woods and meet a couple friends. And that she feels bad about lying to her mom about going to the Wandering Pixie, but is really looking forward to the bonfire outside by Darkmoor Farms.
Okay. So I'm going to very openly carry the journal out.
It's gonna...
I love how there was nobody home at the other house, and you tucked it in your jacket, and this time people are home, and you're like, got your daughter's journal, good thing it wasn't in her panty drawer. The little girl has kind of, we're going to pause there actually.
Second highest percent.
So ma'am, do you happen to know the parents of any of the other daughters? And about one's guy that's gone missing.
That's why.
So keep in mind, you're talking to technically the male posting's mother, but you have recently found out that Kadir recently came out as Camille.
I mean, they literally dressed me like this.
For the sake of clarifying that, I'm dead naming the fuck out of this NPC. But good news, whoever's kidnapping kids is trans inclusive. They're a terrible person, but they draw the line at transphobia.
Are they really a villain then?
I mean, they're no J.K. Rowling, right? They're not potatoes there. But she kind of nods and she goes, "It's a small town. I know most of the people. Why?"
Would any, I'm assuming you've talked to them, yes? About the missing beach persons?
As much as you can talk to a grieving parent.
Do any of them say about their children also going to the wandering pixie?
I mean, I could swing with 14 tutus.
I know Camille was supposed to be going with Panos. They went missing the same night.
Any other ones?
Not that night, no. Panos and Camille were the last to go missing.
Tap creatures.
Then Dawn was, I believe, 5th. Chalice was just before Panos and Camille. Arwen Darkmoor out of Darkmoor Farms was the first to go missing.
Because I think you consider him a warrior artificer because of this thing.
Gwyneth and Amber went missing together. I believe they were early on, a little bit after Arwen.
You could be considered a...
Admittedly, it's been hard to keep track. This has only been happening over the last 3 weeks.
Considering, if you're going literally,
Ma'am, if I may ask you a favor, could you and your little angel over there...
Little girl comes peeking around. I'm not an angel. I'm a demon, and I'm gonna get you.
This little child is adorable. Well, I mean, the kid knows, so.
Alright, fine. Anyways, could you and your clan of a child, it's a suggestion more than asking, if you could stay away from the wandering pixie until the suspicion that once he approved.
Oh, we tend to stay away from the wandering pixie anyway, so I'm not big drinkers.
You do that online, it doesn't work. You have to.
I drink milk and apple juice and sometimes water, though it's not my preference.
Me neither. Good on you.
And it's about this part that you come out and the look of his head whips. Looks at what you're holding. That's Camille's. That has her deepest feelings. And I can't read, but you don't get to read it before me.
I don't care that you have it. I care that you read it before me.
You have to return it like a library book.
I will absolutely return it.
Okay, well, I don't have a stamp card, so you're going to have to give me a minute to go get one.
Okay, you go find a stamp card.
She opens the drawer. She doesn't even leave. She grabs like a drawer and a piece of paper. I don't know letters.
Yeah, clearly.
Mom, will you put a return date on this? It's near about, I believe the nice man will probably return your sister's journal. Yeah, but he's gonna read all the good stuff. And then he's gonna hold it against her. And then she's not gonna play ponies with me because I'm not gonna have anything good to tell you that she did because Illa told you it all. It looks like a snitch.
I won't have leverage. Our child is going to be causing chaos. I'm just going to look at the little girl and say she's probably taller than me, so it's okay. She can hold that against me, and I'll wink at her. And then I'll just hand the journal to her mom and say, "Will you just do me a favor and read the last entry and let me know if you know where they were headed?" I'm trying to not reveal shit to the little girl, but
yes, I'm illiterate, Mom.
I know where they were heading. The little girl pipes up. I know where they were heading. I heard her and Panas talking about it earlier in the day, and she gave me 5 pieces of candy to keep my mouth shut.
I'll give you 5 pieces of copper to tell me.
Which one's copper again?
The most.
The chocolate looking one.
Yeah, but he's talking about money.
I just hold it up. This one is copper. Promise?
Cross my heart and hope not to die, because I'm gonna live forever.
Well, I'll hold you to that. And I give her the 5 pieces of
I
copper.
tried checking the kid before. I'll do it again.
She bites every piece as if checking to see if you're trying to rip her off.
It's really not good for your teeth, but anyway.
It's real, Mom. She puts a pocket. They were going to Darkmoor Farms because there was going to be a bonfire, but they didn't tell Mom because Mom was really worried about people going missing.
What is
Okay,
the
so I
look
got
on the
two
mother's
suspicions.
face?
Uh-huh.
She looks upset and kind of like internalizing, like if she had maybe told her daughter no, something would be different. She looks grieving. But yeah, they went to Darkmoor Farms because Camille was gonna kiss a boy.
With your permission, may I borrow the journal? And I will bring it back within the next couple of days.
Okay, but I'm gonna need 2 copper as a deposit in case you don't bring it back or you lose it.
And you understand the deposit must be returned.
TROLL.
I'm gonna need 3 copper. 2 for a deposit and 1 for a lending fee.
This kid knows how to hustle.
I like this kid.
I'll tell you what. I'll give you 1 for a lending fee and 1 for a deposit.
That's 2.
Is that
He
it?
says that with no inclination of whether that's an agreement or not. She goes, that's 2, and nods.
I put 2 in her hand and then spit on my hand and hold it out to her.
Again, another check, and she goes, that's gross. Boy cooties are icky. And even if you're short, it doesn't change that you have boy cooties. I don't even like boys. I only like girls. I'm gonna be best friends with girls for the rest of my life, and boys are gonna drool.
Sounds like you have your work cut out for you. We will take our leave and leave you to yourself.
Bye, nice man. Thanks for the money.
She probably goes,
You go spell elsewhere. Let her know her.
You gonna not spell anywhere.
Don't worry, I cannot spell anywhere that you can spell. Except for bars, 'cause I'm not old enough. I can't see over them anyways.
Let's see over my friend here.
I'm gonna bite your kneecaps off.
You're not even tall enough to reach my knees.
Wanna bet?
Yeah.
Alright, I bet you 3 copper I can bite your kneecap.
And I bet you 3.
You're not allowed to punt me though.
you can hold her bag with your hand.
That's cheating. You said I can't reach them. Face me like a man.
Okay, I kicked the baby.
Oh, baby.
Kick the baby.
Unfortunately, it is time for us to go as I just push him out the door.
Come back when you decide not to be a little biznatch. You hear the mom go, Mirabelle!
I really want to know,
Just ignore her, just ignore her, just ignore her.
are you having to forcibly push him out? Is he trying to like stay?
I am resisting. I am resisting myself not to kick this child.
But are you letting him push you out the door?
No.
Okay, I'm gonna need a strength. I'm gonna need a, let's call it con if you're just trying to hold still, or dex if you're trying to like flip around him.
Whip around them.
I'm just pushing through him.
So strength against
Strength
strength.
against strength, contested strength rolls.
14.
17.
He just fucking knocks you out.
You basically, you kind of like step over him. He's trying to push you, and you reach back, you put like one hand on his head, and you just like leg over to get in a fight with this many-year-old.
Come here, child.
And she goes, oh, you decided you're not going to be a little baby and let me bite your kneecaps?
No, I didn't talk to your mother, so get out of here, you fuck Jen. 3 feet tall squirt.
First off, watch your mouth. If I'm not allowed to say biznatch, you're not allowed to say fudging. Second off, I live here. You don't tell me what to do. And third off, and she points at you again and we get a con save.
Yes, yes.
I I just have
You're
the
gonna die
look of
to a
eternal
child.
sorrow to this mother.
Ah, 5.
Yes!
Was it not 1?
Take 10 points of damage. As this little girl points, and you just feel electricity coursing through your body as you start to shake like you've been tasered, and you fall to your knees on the ground.
Oh my god.
She comes down and she looks at you and she goes.
Can't bite my kneecaps if they're on the ground.
She gets on her hands and knees. Roll me a dex. Roll me a
I
dex
just
save.
want to hold her head to the ground.
Roll me a dex save with disadvantage.
You did just get electrocuted.
Yeah, that's why I'm making you do it with disadvantage.
You got tased. But this ain't like the tase where it just knocks you down. No, it.
She gets up at you and then she goes, "Your knees look gross."
And so does your face.
Not as gross as your face and your spelling, and I hate you.
Maybe, but I can go to a bar.
Good for you. Beer tastes like bread water.
What is your character doing?
I'm just sitting there looking mortified. Like, I don't know. I have the look to the mother of, I don't know how to stop my child from antagonizing.
Look at you like, I don't know what to do here. And like, your body hurts. Like, if you've ever been tased, like, your muscles are sore. You're
I've been
like,
tased,
this
yes.
fucking hurts. And she just looks at you and she goes,
You okay?
I hope you never recover from that.
What the hell, child?
And I hope you never grow an inch.
Are you gonna find my sister? Or are you gonna sit here being a jerk face?
I'm trying to talk to your mother.
Then talk to her. She's right there.
You tased me.
I didn't tase you. I pointed a finger at you. I'll do it again too. And she like threatening raises her finger.
I'll fucking kick you.
You can't. You're on your knees. You know what you need to do to kick? You gotta have the full leg. And she like starts kicking.
Oh my god.
Point me. 0 you. You lose.
I'd like to pick up this child and just throw her in the room and close the door.
The mom kind of like grabs her and starts moving her as she sees you getting verbally fucking decimated by her child. And she's like, this isn't gonna get better.
I'm just gonna stand in between them, kind of try to break line of sight for, the dude that's twice my
You
height.
said you had questions?
Yes.
Yeah, dumb one.
Shut up! Yes, no, I'm sorry. I'm having fun.
I'm sure she's having a good time too.
Yeah, great. That's what I'm here for. Anyways, if you have any more information or if you need to talk, I'm not only good at fighting.
I'm not just good at fighting children. Don't worry, I have other skill sets too. But honestly, I think you're better at fighting children if you're honest here. I think the child won. She brought you a grown-ass man to your knees and she's this many. I'm not just getting my ass verbally handed me to by a child and brought to my knees. I'm also good at other things. I'm just verbally destroyed.
I feel like this child's gonna come track him down in like 10, 15 years.
Just randomly punch him in the groin.
That or like,
You're not mine.
He's not gonna track him down. He's gonna be coming back to this town. And
You're
she
old
will
enough
notice
now for
him.
me to hit you without charges.
She will notice him.
that or it's gonna leave a definite imprint of a certain type of guy that she's gonna start to like.
Or hate for some damn reason.
Or both. It could go into both.
Love-hate relationships.
Anyways, not only good at fighting children, I'm good at consoling people. Have a nice night.
That wasn't a question.
I just asked if you have any information or you need consoling. Let us know.
Okay, I can do that. Yeah, she can do that.
Shut up, Squirt.
Smart.
No one asked you,
She
you
has
goddamn
a brain,
clown.
unlike some people.
Yeah, you. Why are you talking about yourself?
In 12 years, I think we should fight and then get married.
No! I will fight you, but I will not marry you. Have a good day.
She thinks that you asked her to marry her though.
Bye. And the little girl looks at you as he walks out and she goes, I helped you get your friend away.
I'm back.
Give me a tip.
No money
You
for
should really help your mom keep the store running. And I'm going to walk out the door.
Did she zap
You
him?
kind of hear as you're shutting the door, those guys were suckers, Mom. That one fell to his knees. They think he peed himself. And the other one gave me money for Camille's journal. She's going to be so mad when she gets home.
And I'm just going to slowly shut the door and just walk down the stairs very, very morbidly.
It's about, you're like, I just got proposed to by a 6-year-old.
Yeah, morbidly. Morbidly.
Can I get Arcana checks from you two?
Arcana?
I wanted nothing besides that.
That's not great. Let's see. What is
How do I
my...
check that?
Just a D20 with your Arcana modifier.
I think Arcana is wisdom.
Of course.
That's an even 10.
That was funny.
Yeah, Arcana's intelligence.
How tall is this woman?
He's actually a human. Sean was the guy.
How tall are you?
Both of you got
He's approximately 2 dwarves tall.
Like 6'4".
Yeah, he's like 6'4".
And this child just brought him to
I'm
his
this
knees.
tall.
What was your Arcana
I'm
check?
this tall at 10.
So both of you got 10s. That bit of magic was a little bit interesting to see at its full force. It is specifically a branch of warlock magic. You don't know the name of the spell. You don't know what it is. But you do know that warlocks usually have some sort of patron deity. And it's not very common to find a 6-year-old warlock.
How damaged does he look?
What's your health?
So
21, up there, 32.
He took a sizable chunk of damage. And again, this is, you can tell that this is like a burgeoning spell. Like, this isn't something, that is nowhere near the actual damage it would do with an experienced magic user.
So as we walk down
Smoke
the
is
stairs, I'm
coming
just
off my
gonna
body.
smack him on the back and say,
You get
We're
a little
good.
bit of static electricity.
and I'll lay of hands as I touch him
Yeah.
and say, let's head back to the wandering pixie.
For how much?
We'll do 5
Just fine.
in case there's
Just
any.
enough to take the tingle out.
Just in case another kid decides to.
Well, I was actually aiming for if there was any lingering effects. Lay on hands will heal it if I do 5 or more.
Later on in the evening, you hear the of a child.
Hit her matter. She breaks into your room with a wandering pixie.
He's gonna wake up screaming at night.
Come here, you witch!
Has nightmares.
The party kind of gathers back at the Wandering Pixie. You two get there kind of first because you were in town. You guys had a little bit of a trek. But the party all kind of gets to the Wandering Pixie within 10-15 minutes of each other. Go ahead and roleplay the information sharing because I like that part.
In 12 years, I can fight a kid.
What the hell have you been up to?
We actually got really good information. He's just not allowed to go back to one of the houses.
In 12 years, I can fight a kid.
Don't forget the marrying her part because that
I
was
was
Entire party. Wait a minute.
You propositioned a child.
No,
other way around.
What?
She asked us for her mother's name, and I said, I don't know. Mary, as the name. And she thought I was proposing to her, and now I want to, jump off a cliff.
It was a day.
She's mortified.
But anyway.
Don't worry about it. Anyway.
Hey, at least he didn't try to beat up another kid. Early.
No,
Why do I
that
feel like-
happened too.
No. Yeah.
What is your
No, wait a minute. That
against
also
children?
happened, guys.
I've been talking about your kneecaps without you punting me.
And you guys do see he's taken some damage. Not enough that you're concerned after the heal on hands, but you can tell he's got some singe marks on his
Do you
clothes.
have do you have hair on your head?
No, I'm bald.
Okay, cool.
Do you have any facial hair?
Well, anyways,
I wish
You have that smoking or smoldering.
Oh, that was straight trauma.
Oh, that means I'm full smoke. Body hair too.
So you just see
I am
smoke coming out
smoking.
from his shirt.
She electrified me, right? I
Yeah.
have full body hair.
Oh, yeah. No. You see singed body hair. You see some singe marks on his clothes.
He's kind of got that smell. Of
Yeah, he's got
hair.
the smell.
anyway,
Kill a kid.
we went to the Sisterhood of Ravens and we found that they are in fact not the cause of the disappearances. They're also not the cause of the death stuff that the bear came from.
So as far as I got a worried sort of thing. I had the word in my head now. I can't remember it. But there's a farm in the Wandering Pixie, the place we're in currently, are two hotspots that I know of for
No, you're good.
these people to go missing.
Do you mean the Darkmoor farm on the posters?
Yes.
So, just to bring you up to speed, 2 of our girls were disappeared at the same time, all in the midst of developing magic.
2 of them disappeared while coming here to Wandering Pixie, and 2 of them disappeared going to a bonfire at the farm.
Sometimes it's just straight trauma.
Okay.
And for any that are perhaps more intellectually inclined, I have 2 journals that we borrowed from the individuals in order to read through over the next couple days to see if there's anything useful. A little girl has instructed me that is wrong. However, it may be necessary.
Understandable in an investigation, however, that's a little private.
I'm all for knowledge.
People are
I understand
disappearing.
that.
Nope.
Understand.
I allow homebrew as
Only
long
the
as it's
6-year-old
free.
May I
Do
suggest-
you have a Discord?
Yes, I do.
Cool.
Also, the High Priestess Breesis,
I'll add you to the
she
Discord
is
because
a
there's some character
royal
building
fae
that you can do on
planeswalker.
Discord.
She is from my world, my home, my walking world.
That's my favorite.
Okay,
Fun fact, my 6-year-old is a warlock.
that too.
That patron must love chaos if they're giving powers to a
I'm
6-year-old.
What?
It's every
Could
other
they be an
Saturday.
ally?
It's every other Saturday.
No.
So
No?
Kratos
No.
is
But they were
handed
gonna
me the
marry.
books. I'm gonna try to beat them.
Like skim through these journals?
The most recent entries.
Yeah. So go ahead and give me, since you're doing skim, a wisdom check. That's how I do reading. If you're doing a thorough reading, it's intelligence. Skim
I'll do
through
the big
is
one.
wisdom.
Oh, I should have done the other.
That's a 3.
You also are really struggling as you're like with these handwriting. You're like, this. Who the fuck taught these kids how to write?
Maritra.
You can go ahead and roll an intelligence check to try and detail read, since skimming is really hard with this handwriting apparently.
Using the small dice.
Can I give
Pass
a
the journals
help
around
action?
the party. You said intelligence?
Yep.
That is a 19.
Okay. So which journal are you starting with? Because there'll be separate rolls for each.
I'm starting.
Because you've got Panas and Camille's.
I'm starting with Panassus.
Okay, so Panas's,
Oh,
the most recent journal entry is specifically about how her magic is formulating in a very different way than the clerics at the church. And so she's starting to feel like some of her magic falls more along the lines of the sisterhood, though that scares her and she's anxious about it. But she has recently set up a meeting with Kamina, Estelle, and Soraya, and that's kind of like what you get at the basis with the slightly higher read than he did, is that she set up a meeting with the 3 mission priestesses from the sisterhood, but there's no date set. The journal entry, we'll say 3 journal entries before that, she starts describing what. Give me an Arcana check.
Oh shit! I don't have any modifiers to that. That's a 10.
That's okay, so better not get a roll.
What she's describing is a magic that seems to you more geared in damage, a little bit more dark and macabre. It seems to be more oriented around death than it does around healing and life, similar to the clerics. And she's describing how she's seeing the differences between her magic and the clerics at the church, whose magic is more like light-based, more healing-oriented. With that Arcana check, you really are only getting the descriptions of like the magic as opposed to being able to pinpoint it. Then there's an entry just before that where she is describing very concerning dreams. And this seems to be around the start of that 3-week mark, where these disappearances started occurring, or a couple days after, where she's starting to have these dreams about Arwen, the first girl to go missing, who's been missing. She describes this in the thing. Arwen, who's been missing, talking to her in her sleep and trying to tell her to stay out of the woods. And she doesn't understand the dream, but she thinks it's probably just her worried about this older missing girl, because Arwen is the oldest of the missing 25. This older woman who was very capable of protecting herself. She was a very prominent hunter, taught a lot of the people how to like hunt and like skin animals and stuff like that. Arwen was very capable of defending herself, and so she's writing it off as sort of her just being anxious, because if it could happen to Arwen, it could happen to anyone.
Interesting. You know, this Panas person came up in conversation with one of the priestesses at the one of the Sisterhood of Ravens. Their
Missionary.
Yes, their missionary somewhat pursued her, though we don't know the intent of why. I wonder if it could be this dark-esque type of magic that she's feeling.
Do I know anything about the goddess Cassandra?
They've created a campaign where they have most of the source books, so that links in the Discord server. Okay, say that again, whoever just said something to me.
Do I know anything about the goddess Cassandra?
Roll me a religion check.
May I as well?
Yes.
Religion. Where's my religion?
Religion, I believe, is wisdom.
I'm wondering why. Like, were you building the
No,
character in the
intelligence.
campaign?
It's your intelligence
I was
modifier.
in one with Travis.
Unless you chose to have-
I've actually been in two attempts.
So the reason that that's not happening anymore is because Jeremiah was the one who shared the source books, and he got off the subscription of D&D Beyond. So it no longer shares the content.
Well, even when he was doing the subscription, it didn't show.
I rolled a
like, none of them
15.
were forged.
I got a
So the way that you have to do that is you
I
have
got
to go
this
into the
also.
link and then you have to click create character, and that will give you access to it as long as campaign sharing's on, which we know it is with them because Alex needed it to do a lizard folk. So
You're going to be joining?
Yeah.
Can you help me with the character?
It looks really pretty spinning.
Well, the reason why is I'm gonna do a.
okay, so that invite is sent.
I also have.
You should have just received it.
Yeah, I just did.
Cool. And then you can join the server, and then
The lore drops all.
no. So that will be under announcements, I believe. Yeah. So under announcements, you've got the character building mechanics, the campaign info, and character building parameters, and you can use those to gauge building the character. And then under important links is where the oh wait, no, I think that was ended up being under general.
Yeah, I think I just threw it in.
And so yeah, under pinned in general, you'll see the link, and if you click that and then scroll down to create character for campaign, you should have access to the source books that way. All right, who was talking to me
15, 17.
on the religion checks? Okay. You've heard a little bit about Cassandra, but your recollection of Cassandra is predominantly through bedtime stories that your dad would tell you when you were around. Like when he was around, about like different stories.
Never met my dad.
Okay, that your mom would tell you from different planes of existence when you were younger. Specifically, you would know, and you'll know all of this information as well, just it's flavored differently because your mom wasn't telling you these bedtime stories. But for you, your information that you know is that Cassandra was known as the Shepherd of Sorrow, or other names, the Mourner, Goddess of Passage, Cassandra of the Black Veiled, and Goddess of Grief and Renewal.
How do I go to pin?
Click on the top where it says the name of the channel.
General hits. You heard a prayer specifically. You will get something different with that.
Okay.
But you heard, actually no. You know that it is said that she most frequently interacted with lost souls of her faith as the one who guides them to her lover Vaughn to pass judgment. And as for the living, she interacts only in times of great strife or grief as a shepherd to help guide them through their sorrow. You also remember her being described as a faceless god of old.
Okay.
As for you, you know all this information in a different context. Whereas, like, your friend who passed, because let's bring him up again, was a big fan of, like, finding books of strange and unique lore at one of the libraries, and would often, you guys would have a beer and he would tell you or read from you those stories to pass the cold poor people nights. You specifically remember, as a paladin, it makes sense that this would speak out, a prayer often used by those mourning who suffered a loss. There is no light without darkness, no joy without pain. While I ache right now, I know, dear Cassandra, that you shall guide me through my sorrow, my grief, and renew me with the strength to once more feel the warmth of life. Through Aether it will be Bovari Durham. And you also remember a picture denoting her visage, we'll describe it as being a woman leaned against a tombstone with no face. Her face looked either wrapped or missing, and instead blackened with two large cattle horns and a candle wafting smoke in her hand. And for your...
Yeah. She's a little bit on the creepy side.
You remember all of the gods surrounding Cassandra from this particular pantheon were kind of a little creepy. Additionally, you remember the description of as when appearing to her mortal followers in flesh, she tends to appear as a young girl with her hair in braids, with a mourning veil over her, usually with a crow on her shoulder.
Is it Warforged or is?
Yeah.
It's not showing up fly.
So I can include 1,000 tokens or something.
Okay, so they might not have Warforged content,
I'm not too worried about it.
but
I don't know what Warforged content
I
would be.
do, and I think I
Tell you.
have the book that it's in, or I do have it on D&D Beyond. So
I think it's Xanathar, or either Tasha's Cauldron of Everything or Xanathar's
Warforged is
Guide.
Eberron, I do believe.
Oh.
That'd be why. Because we don't have Eberron.
What's a Kenku?
It's like a giant crow.
Kenkus cannot speak from their own voice. They can repeat.
They can repeat, but if you take the actor's feet, then they become able to like mimic significantly more, and then to also eventually learn how to speak. But that barrier, as they're learning things, is actually hilarious to see play out at a table. But anywho, so you remember significantly more, especially more of the religious ideology behind it. Cassandra was not revered in that pantheon specifically as she wasn't really viewed as a dark deity, but she was a deity whose responsibilities fell on the more dark. Sorrow, mourning, loss.
Kind of like a god of death kind of view.
Yes.
It's not necessarily an evil god, it's just a fact of life.
Yes, and she was said to sort of be the person who guides people in their passage to her husband, who was known as Vaughn, the Keeper of Death.
So directly tied to death.
Yes, not death herself, but she is specifically the goddess of grief and renewal, which is where the Bresis stuff with like from whence life came seems to be coming from.
I do share that with the group that there was a follower that was excommunicated. The high priestess believes she is dead, but she was very much believed that everything needed to be returned to the well of Anus, and basically was killing everything and putting it in this well.
So just to go back to a passage that was in that journal about wanting to avoid the forest, did she give in her dreams, did she give any reason as to why to avoid the forest, or just a forest is bad, don't go there?
Yeah, she's still
There could be potential danger, I suppose.
Perhaps we should ask around to whoever handles the hunting for the
I-
village.
I can do that.
It's a big enough town that you would know that there's it's probably more of a market system. They don't have like a
They don't have like, this
that-
dude's the hunter.
yeah,
he
this
goes out
dude's
and
the
gets shit.
hunter. These are the gatherers. It's not quite that primitive of a town, but it is primitive.
Yeah.
There's got to be someone to hunt to grab like hide and stuff.
Yeah, you could probably go to Bellyful Butchers, which is on that list, and ask who typically gets their meat.
What time of day is it?
You're getting into the early evenings. Most shops are probably going to be closed at this point.
Okay.
You can do it tomorrow.
Perhaps we should visit tomorrow with the butchers.
Okay. So maybe in the meantime, we should
Yeah, the more intelligent.
not we'll delve into this forest. Just explore the outskirts and see what we can find.
Indeed, I'd also like to take a look at the Darkmoor farms from a distance, especially as we near darker times.
Aye.
I'm gonna go sleeping. Y'all need me? Wake me up.
I think they're heading to. Are you guys going tonight, or are you waiting till the morning?
We're going
I'm
tonight.
going tonight to go look at the woods.
They're gonna go check out the woods around Darkmoor Farms at night. Would you like to go with them?
I'm good.
Have you been emotionally destabilized by a 6-year-old?
And all right, she was a very feisty 6-year-old.
Only by my health.
So just to clarify above table, we did share the fact that they were all slowly showing signs of magic.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that. Of the ones we talked to, all of the girls that have gone missing were developing magic, if not extensively
To me,
learning.
the D&D alignment system kind of doesn't comes back. The breadth
I don't
of
think that'll be
alignment.
related. I can
I'm
think
never
of
gonna
what might
fact check
lead
your
to
alignment and
that.
be like, that doesn't feel
Yeah,
very
once the elf's
chaotic
gonna
neutral
start
of
asking
you.
around town, or probably at the tavern, wherever that is.
You don't have to have specific faith. There's like, depending
I
on
was
what
gonna
plane
ask
of
if
existence you're on.
there's
Oh, I
anyone
would
that knows
recommend
of
checking out
any
the
other
planar
children that
guidebook
might be
that's in there
gaining
that has a
magic.
guide to all the planes so you can
Other
determine
than
where
the
you're from.
6-year-old that
seems,
kicked
But no, yeah.
seems like kind of a sore subject for everyone we talk to.
I didn't hit the child at least. I was thinking of it.
Yeah, because you brought you to your knees before you even could.
I still could have hit her. She was within a
My
reach.
If there's a trend of these young missing women, and you said it was this woman's daughter,
Yes.
maybe all of the young daughters or young females are exhibiting this power. For all we know, this goddess that the sisterhood kind of like bestows power upon them at a young age.
Would they all be warlocks then? Because the
Do I know
6-year-old sure as
anything
heck
about
was.
her lover?
Vaughn, roll a, give me another religion check.
Yeah, I'd make a tavern.
Did the priestess give any inclination as to what their magic looks like?
Drink off
They
22.
So
they
you
said they studied many.
got a lot more stories about Vaughn as a child. He was known as Vaughn, Keeper of Death, God of Justice and Judgment. And even beyond that, he is also a faceless god of old. His symbolism are graves, ravens, swamps, and he is the patron god of rogues and thieves.
Graves, ravens.
Graves, ravens, swamps.
Can I borrow a D8 real quick?
And he is the patron god of rogues and thieves. Your mother actually remembered a prayer of divinity that was often said at funerals or by grieving loved ones asking for passage into the holy wood for their loved ones, which is what this faith called the afterlife, was the holy wood. O Vaughn, the final judgment day is upon our loved one. We pray forgiveness for their transgressions, recognition of their great deeds, and acceptance of their soul. You, Keeper of Death, will take them into your arms to your families, kingdom, and we ask that you do so with our love in your hearts for the spirit you look upon. Through Aether it will be Bavari Doro. And this divine text really focused, like the divine text that this prayer is from, supposedly focused on the importance, actually you wouldn't have this because you're hearing this through stories. But he was said to be married to Basandra, the shepherd of sorrow, and from her bore 2 children, Harazeli, enchanter of mortals, and Tesnech, the vizier of change.
How do you spell the first one?
H''EURZELI.
And then the other one?
Tesnech, TZEENTCH. And he was described as having 2 mortal forms, that of a raven often when he is with his lover Basandra on the mortal plane, and the other of a reaper with a scythe and a face cloaked in black.
Or haste for strength.
I used to be told a story of Vaughn, who one of his forms is a raven, and the Sisterhood of Ravens have a raven. That is their god's lover. He also has 2 children. I think we should ask around and see if there's any swamps also nearby the Durin farms.
Did we pass through anything that looked
No, and
swamp-esque?
Darkmoor Farms is on the side of town that you guys passed through, so you didn't see any swamps as you guys were traveling.
Okay. Well, why don't we just head out and just take a look around, see what we see. I'm kind of curious if we can find any signs of where their bonfire was.
Yeah. So you guys head out to Darkmoor Farms. You remember this being a fairly thicketed area, or not thicketed, but thicker area with quite a bit of tree coverage to the side of the road. As you kind of head through, you notice that the path to Darkmoor Farms is specifically through the woods, whereas the path you took coming into town wasn't. It was kind of to the side of it. The woods are, it's still daylight, though you're in the last, maybe hour or so of it, where the sky is like that bright, bloody reddish orange color as you're making the way through this forest, and light seems to kind of almost dissipate. This forest kind of wraps around the bottom part of Vaith, so it is a pretty large forest. Go ahead, and if you're looking for where the bonfire might have been, roll me a nature investigation. I'll take either.
You.
My character's
19.
Huh?
19.
19?
I only got 9.
So your instinct, as you're kind of looking, is like, they'd want to be close to the farm as they're having this like teenage drunken bonfire. Because you didn't go to bonfires, you weren't that cool.
No.
So you're like, if we go towards the farm, we're bound to find it. You, however, knowing woods, know that typically you don't want to be, you'd want to find a clearing because you don't want to set anything particularly on fire. And you notice that the forest is a little bit dry, and most people from like around this area would probably be able to gauge whether there was fire safe. And you get the inkling that sort of heading a little bit southwest into the woods based on sort of the geographical kind of layout from what you've seen heading there, because you're very nature, you're like one with the woods, is probably where you'd be most likely to find some
Clearing.
yeah, some type of clearing.
I think we should go this way because the woods are quite dry, and the folk around here probably know the dry seasons and whatnot, and they wouldn't have a bonfire in this condensed of an area. We're looking for a clearing of some sort.
I'm willing to follow if you'd like to lead.
Okay.
So does everybody who is going follow Nazi?
Yep. Sure. Yep. Grandpa's keeping an eye out and looking around everywhere, though.
It takes you about an hour to find a clearing heading that direction. And it's getting darker, the sun has fallen down. Before somebody yells at me that you have dark vision, those of you who don't, probably light a torch so you can see.
I honestly don't think any of us do.
I know.
I
it
have a
doesn't-
torch.
There's always some fuck face who's gonna yell, "I've got dark vision" when you say it's dark.
That's when
So-
you hit him with the bright room trope.
Yep.
I was gonna say that.
Suddenly,
Like, you
hey,
beat me
flash of
to
light
it.
appears right in front of your eyes.
Actually, you can't see because it's bright as shit, Travis. As can I get let's do insight rolls for everybody. No, because I'm gonna work you in. The next session is where the party will work you in, because that way then you get a good entrance.
Dirty 20.
Well, do you want to know the
Natural 20, 25.
Ooh.
22.
Did anybody get less than a 14?
16 plus 2, I
Okay.
believe.
So you all get a very uncomfortable gut feeling as you're getting deeper into these woods. You're starting to get a little on edge as the sun has set and darkness has surrounded you. For someone like Nocti, that feeling might be because you're noticing how quiet the woods are. You're not hearing much of those natural foresty sounds of, you know, crickets or animals skimpering. Even the leaves seem to not be making much of a noise in the very faint breeze. For someone like you who's kind of used to the sea and that open space, you might be feeling a little bit claustrophobic, almost like it feels like the trees are kind of watching you. You're kind of used to an open, vast expanse, whereas this is just like a lot. For those of you who are in cities, just the inherent nature of like being surrounded by this much actual earth is uncomfortable, and you're kind of you're like gaslighting yourself almost. You're like, maybe the woods are always this creepy. I don't know, but
I've never been in the woods. Maybe it's always just
maybe
kind
it's
of...
always uncomfortable. For someone like you who is also kind of, you're used to the mountains, you're used to trees, you're kind of used to this tribal aspect, that quiet also stands out to you as sort of uncomfortable. And you're feeling a little unsettled as you're making your way, and as you reach, yes.
At this point, Xanth's hammer would just kind of subconsciously leak out of his arm and form.
Love that. Yeah, it's kind of like, I don't know how many, like, have you ever watched a horror movie and then you're sitting in your dark living room by yourself? Those are the vibes you're getting in this
It's
movie.
that moment of pure paranoia where you don't know what the fuck that sound was, but you know you heard a sound.
Yeah.
In a hushed tone. Well, because I'm assuming we're fairly close together.
Yeah.
Just
Probably in a walking
mention
line or side by sides.
there is silence in a wood. There is too much silence.
And for you two, this is almost confirmation that, like, yeah, maybe the woods aren't supposed to be this quiet. Maybe I'm right to be unsettled because this bitch looks like part tree, and they're telling me that this is not normal.
I immediately start stealthing.
Yeah.
So I'm going to cast Divine Sense.
Cool.
And just really, like, look, like, out into the forest.
Yeah.
Into where I can't see.
How long does Divine Sense last?
I can keep it up for a total of 5 minutes.
Okay. At first, your Divine Sense isn't picking up on much. Even in the darkness, you're just kind of seeing nothingness. But as you get further, you're starting to get a little bit of like a pain. And it's not like a specific, you know, it's not like the aberration, or like, it's not that. You just start to see that there is some sort of darkness, some sort of wicked, almost magic that seems to be tainting the trees and the ground around you.
I cast Bardic Inspiration. Can I cast it twice? Or
no, I think it's a limited. I think you've only. It depends. I think you've only got one use of it. But
one creature? Okay, from Nocti's view of the group, which would they know out of you two which one does the most, like, damage?
No, because you haven't seen any of them fight.
The only person we've seen fight is him.
And that was, he took a bear down with an arrow, but it was already injured. So do with that information what you want.
I'm gonna cast Bardic Inspiration on Xanth.
Okay.
So
And
I'm
your
just
Bardic
gonna,
Inspiration gives a D6, D8, or a D10. I think
D6.
Okay, so you'll have an extra D6.
I'm gonna whistle just to get everybody's attention, just kind of quietly, and just take off my shield and warhammer and just say, "We are definitely not safe." save.
Roll an insight check. For all of you, you hear the faint whistle. But it's muted, it's more numbed, it's less vibrant of a sound. It doesn't ring out with the same force that a typical whistle would. And for a moment, you five almost feel like it was more of a breeze than a whistle.
Great.
For you, almost as if like your brain is hearing something because you're the one who tried to make that sound, you don't notice the difference in the sounds for your whistle.
And so I just tell everyone, arm yourselves. There's something wrong.
As you get to that clearing, that divine sense, everything is seeped in a sort of dark, twisted, sort of etheric quality to it. And you notice that this clearing is kind of an opening with the trees that is also on one side of it is a cave. And I'm gonna need charisma saves from everybody really quick.
Okay.
I'm good at that one. We're okay.
With that one, would I roll Arcana or Nature for an investigation for?
Do you need
the
new set of
clearing?
dice?
It would be an
I
investigation.
might. We might change up
But
here.
first, let's get those charisma saves as you all look and notice the cave.
15.
9.
And
That's just straight charisma, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, no, it's a charisma save, so it will be. You'll have special save modifiers.
Yes, I'm looking for my
17.
modifiers.
Basically, I just need to know if you got a 14 or lower, because 15 is the DC.
what did he get?
14. Can I get minus 1 to charisma?
I got 15. I barely made it.
So you
I've got a
pass.
fucking plus.
Raise your hand if you failed that. Okay. You
The
two.
two city boys.
You two city boys who fail it, as you peer into this cave, you hear something almost in the back of your heads. And forgive me for this. You three do not hear this. All around the mulberry bush, the monkey chased the weasel. Da-da, da-da, da-da-da-da-da.
This will be super
Pop goes the weasel.
for being silent, and that's the only sound you hear.
Well, and it's one of those sounds that you know is an internal sound. You know that did not come, like you don't hear it with your ears almost.
You hear it with the back of your head.
With the back of your head.
You hear it with your head.
Yeah,
your brain.
and so you two are the only ones who hear that, and probably gaze a few minutes longer than the others, or a few moments longer than the other three at the mouth of that cave. I will take that investigation roll for the clearing, though.
All right.
While they do that, can I take my oath bow and
I have Bardic Inspiration. I could cast it.
Yeah.
Oh, can he?
What?
I forgot about Bardic Inspiration.
Use it on the next one.
Oh,
Too far gone.
Yeah.
It's already too late.
It doesn't. It has no effect. Like you guys aren't like exhausted. You're not hurt. You're not crippled.
We're just creeped the
You're just
fuck
creeped
out.
the fuck out. When you shoot the oath bow, you notice that the light of the arrow, as soon as it enters that cave, gone. There is no. As soon as you see the light breaking through the darkness of this clearing, and as soon as the head enters, you see each bit of that light completely swallowed up by the mouth of this cave. What was your investigation?
23.
23.
Ooh.
You notice a few things as you're kind of observing the clearing, which is maybe why you didn't stare at the cave long enough to be fucking spooked the fuck out. You notice that there is the remnants of a bonfire. It seems like there's quite a bit of cleaning that has been done, but you notice some broken glass from what looks to be like an ale bottle or something. Though you might not place it as an ale bottle, you just notice it's broken, shiny bits.
Okay.
Hey, the window broke.
And addition.
That is exactly
That's
what
actually
Nazi-
probably what you're thinking. Yeah, like, oh, there was a window out here.
If my brain gets creeped out, I just spout random bullshit.
Additionally, as you're pacing around, you notice two things, and then I'm gonna need a con save from you. You notice a deep, bloody claw gash in a tree closest to the cave. You are three things. You notice blood splatters on the ground, and lastly, you see a little black ring with a singular diamond gemstone.
Got a 14 on that Constitution. I am going to pick up that ring.
Before you can pick up the ring, you're looking at these markings in this tree, and you're noticing that they have this strange shift to them, where 1 second you're seeing this grizzled claw mark that turns smaller and looks more like a hand mark that is bloody, dragging across. It's no longer breaking into the bark, but it is bloody. And you're frozen for a moment in fucking horror. Maybe it's because this tree to you has a life and a spirit of its own, Pocahontas, or maybe it's because of the you can feel almost as you're looking at this the deep-seated terror of something radiating off of this tree. And you don't know what it is, but you feel almost, and in the back of your head, hear almost an ear-shattering scream that has you kind of frozen for a moment.
Traumatic.
And then you can pick up the ring, but your hands are shaking as you do it.
Okay.
You're, go ahead.
I'd like to walk towards the cave.
I say there's a broken window and something attacked this tree and it is terrifying. And then I pick up the ring.
As you guys are having this conversation, as you have drawn attention, as you're walking towards the cave and looking at it, I'm gonna need another charisma save.
I'm gonna walk past.
Yeah, like you're kind of focusing on this cave, and I imagine you're kind of ignoring that and going to get charisma save.
It seems light
21.
refuses
Yeah.
to enter that cave as well.
You're getting closer, and you're looking at it, and you're getting the heebie-jeebies, but you don't hear anything. In fact, you notice that sound seems to be more quiet as you get closer, as you feel like Naki's voices, they're sharing this information, kind of dull to a roar and get quieter and quieter, if that makes sense. Like, have you ever, like, while you're turning the volume down on the TV, you know how it sounds, it gets quieter and quieter? That's kind of what's happening to the background noise for you. And as you, what do you do as you approach the cave?
I'd like to stop like right at the end, like 5 feet from the entrance, and just yell back, "Yo, stuff's getting quieter back this way."
You feel your lips move. Again, you feel the vibration of your vocal cords. You guys hear nothing as you're standing right on the edge. Yes.
Do we see him moving over that way?
You guys, it depends. You were engaging in the conversation with Lukti about, or Nocti, about the glass. So roll me a perception check.
Something transformed here. And I point out.
Out of the corner of your eye, you see him getting closer. You, as you go to speak, you hear something in the cave. And it's a faint voice. Approach at the witching hour. Or do not approach at all.
When's the witching hour? I speak back to the cave.
Again, no sound comes out. And suddenly, you see, somehow in the darkness, something moving that almost looks inky and black, but you almost feel like it's a trick of the eye, as a hand kind of for a moment kind of shakes out and then disappears.
I'd like to start walking back and just grab each of them arm by arm and just start walking the other way.
Sound starts coming out as you get closer. You start to hear this conversation about the glass and everything. And he just kind of starts grabbing your guys' arms and heading.
Why are you doing this?
No, figure out witching hour, go town now.
The
Witching hour, what?
Witching hour. And
Talk
if
later,
you don't,
go now.
anybody who is curious about what the witching hour, you can roll a Arcana check to see if you know what that means.
Nope.
Come on.
Rangers, they're not big into the occult.
12.
12.
Dirty 20.
Dirty 20. Arcana is going to just be, it's going to be intelligence based.
21.
Excuse me.
You two actually know what the witching hour is. You grew
You know
up
exactly what it
in,
is.
like, again, more tribal with lots of lore and storytelling. And the witching hour is what 3 a.m. is said to be. It's said to be an hour where magic is at its strongest, but also what your clan described as the veil is the thinnest, which is the barrier between different worlds. And so, as a kid, you were told you don't want to be caught out at the witching hour because something might break through the veil and grab you. You also grew up in more of like a story-oriented kind of culture. For you guys, the witching hour was viewed as the ideal time for any ritual magic because magic was said to be strongest, again, known as like 3 a.m.
The witching hour is the best time for rituals.
From where I've learned, the witching hour is kind of like this.
Where the boogeyman comes and gets you through the veil.
It's this like thin veil between worlds, where when I was growing up-
Between worlds, Nocti like goes quiet for just a second and brings back up Cassandra, the goddess of the ravens. We might, the Sisterhood of Ravens might not be cause of this, but that the one that was excommunicated, it's the veil, it's the thinning of the world, sending things to them.
Your traumatic spark ignition.
This is where all the girls were. They went into that cave, and there was a ritual. There's got to have been a ritual. Something happened here.
We do not know if all of the girls were here. We only, according to their information, we only know that at least 3 of them were here.
4.
But all of these girls are missing, and usually when a bonfire happens, many people are involved. So I'm thinking something happened here with that.
Are you saying we wait for this witching hour to occur?
Yes,
Yes.
that is what the cave. As I got closer to the cave,
But I would be on guard.
light woman with light speaking said, "Do not come unless it's at the witching hour, or basically or else."
Everybody, really quick, roll me a wisdom save.
Okay, I'm better at that.
Oh, that's a natural 20. 21.
15.
14.
14.
Nat 20!
Natural 1.
17 or less.
So I got 4.
You 3, as you kind of almost turn your
Book
head
saved
back,
my butt.
as he's describing what he heard at the cave, and you turn your head back, you see a. You see
I can play that in response.
a young woman with dark hair in a tight braid who looks slenderly muscular,
I just want that for flavor.
and you see a massive gash across her chest as she's looking back at the 3 of you who failed.
Where is she located?
She is at the mouth of the cave, and she is looking at you. And you, give me an insight check, those of you who failed.
So me and Travis don't see this?
Nope, because you guys passed.
Do we see them look back?
You are seeing them kind of staring at the mouth of the cave for a moment.
18.
Are you all okay?
13.
You 3, all as you get the feeling this is not this isn't scary. This isn't the scary thing. Like, it's scary to see this young woman with this, and like you can see her insides, this massive gashing that has torn, her abdomen and her chest open. But you do not get the feeling that she is dangerous. In fact, with your divine sense, which is about to run out, you can tell that this is more of a celestial essence than it is dark, and it's actually bright and vibrant and a light compared to the rest of the dark kind of etheric coating of the forest.
Do I see a crow?
A what?
A crow.
You do not see a crow as she shakes her head and holds up.
Okay.
Can I call out?
You can try.
And just say, Cassandra, what are you trying to tell us?
Is it the time?
She takes a step closer. She nods at that.
3
The witching hour? Are you still alive?
Okay, yes or no questions. Got it.
Is
Do we stand
anyone
a
still
chance of
alive?
killing what's inside?
Her head kind of tilts. And she seems unsure, like she doesn't know how to answer that.
Is anyone still alive?
How many?
Because she's a teacher. I don't think so. I didn't spells in this.
Shaky hand.
So that's my plan for my target spells.
So I see us as having two options. We can wait till the witching hour tonight, or we can return to town and come back with reinforcements.
It is imperative probably for tonight.
Witching hour.
Why are you
She-
asking the cave questions?
Roll me an intelligence check.
We're both just watching them talk to something that's not there.
While he's doing that, Thin Veil come back at 3 a.m. to probably fight what's in there.
18.
Or to experience.
You're starting to put some
actual
stuff
in
together.
there.
As she's nodding, like, yes, imperative. You're also remembering 13 girls have gone missing. 13 is a number often used in rituals. You are also recognizing
Right.
that 3 a.m. being a ritual hour is really important. And that if tonight is super important, then that probably means that these last two that are remaining are likely a result of that ritual being completed.
May I?
If we
Just out of curiosity,
Don't-
what is the date?
You guys have only been like hypothetically, you guys have only been together for like 4 or
hours.
5 days now.
yeah.
I'm usually like the date.
We don't know the date.
Oh, yeah, no, because you're in different worlds that are gonna have different calendar systems.
Wait.
We
I know
need
the
to
name.
rescue the
In
last
this
two
world,
girls.
probably, but
No, I'm talking out. We need to rescue the last two girls. There was a ritual here. I was right.
and for
13 girls.
you two, this is fucking insane. You're like, what do you mean rescue the last two girls? I thought we were looking for 13 missing people.
13 girls. There was a ritual, a bonfire, the witching hour. These last two girls, this is the last part of the ritual. If we don't do it now, whatever is going to happen tonight.
And it's
Do we
gonna
have
be
an inclination of what time it is?
You do. So you, not you, maybe. Give me nature checks. Everybody give me a nature check. We'll see who can gauge
I
time.
have a sundial on me.
You would be.
Well, it's dark.
It's dark. So
But the moon, and we're in a clearing.
yeah, I would say give me a nature check. See if you read that sundial.
Okay.
13.
If you got a 14, no 15. Let's say 15 for this because you guys are on a different plane of existence. For
Yeah.
you, it's 13.
20.
20.
Xanth has no fucking clue what time it is. He knows it's dark.
You're
outside.
like, it's nighttime!
It's nighttime. There's some creepy shit going on. The cave
Yeah.
spoke in
So
my
you,
head.
what
I
did
don't
you
know what's
get?
going on.
I got
You're like, there's no ocean stars for me to gauge here, buddy. I can't even see the stars. I don't know. And maybe suns work different here. So you
We'll
two.
swap to the blood red dice. That seems like the perfect.
We both passed the wisdom and failed the time check.
Damn it, you got my brain thinking.
Okay.
What'd you get?
Oh, I got a 13.
Okay, so you two are the ones, you between your sundial and kind of knowing nature, know that sun just set, it's probably been about an hour and a half. It's probably around like 7 or 8 o'clock. You are like, yeah, this is about 7, 8 o'clock in this world. Like, you know, you're just kind of like, sun went down a little bit ago. Like, that usually happens around like 6:30, 7, 8 o'clock-ish.
How long did it take us to get here?
It took you guys about an hour and a half.
Hour and a half.
Because you guys ventured out before the sun was setting. But it
Could I get us back if we left here? Could I get us back with my nature sense within an hour?
yeah, you could get back to town within an hour.
But back to the clearing as well.
Going back and forth.
Pending a check.
Okay.
It would depend. Me telling you, you would be rolling the dice, and so it depends on, it'd be a nature check, which means you have a pretty good shot of it. But
I don't know if we might be able to find this place as easily if we leave.
So then let's.
I say we
prepare
take
for
a short
fight.
rest.
We don't need the sword because we just choose.
It is. We've got a couple of hours, about 5 hours before the witching hour. I say we rest, make preparations,
White, blue, green,
and go into this cave.
So let me just try and get all this straight. So you're telling me sometime around whatever the witching hour is, there's 2 of the girls that were kidnapped still in there, still alive.
Yes.
The other 10, 11 are dead.
Well, shit.
Okay. And how did
Can you
come
guys
about
not
this
see
information?
her?
No,
Go.
we see you talking to a cave.
Well,
One of the girls is standing in
Go.
front of me with a bloody gash, and she's
give me wisdom saves.
right.
Except for so you 2 who failed them. Give me wisdom
Who
saves.
passed?
Yeah, who passed? Excuse me.
Cool. Fucking failed miserably.
10.
As you 2 are having this described, you look back at the cave instinctively and you see this.
She's
And
ghost.
it is horrifying. But then all of a sudden, as you're interrupted, literally I'm interrupting you because this is happening and you are interrupted. You watch as the girl's neck snaps. Everything kind of goes dark as she seems to fall back into nothingness of the cave. And you all hear it this time. All around the mulberry bush, the monkey chase.
How did I get goosebumps that time?
Right? Right?
That was the first time I didn't.
Hop.
So you have Athena, she's cast, she has a creature, you have a sword.
And that's where we're ending tonight's session.
You're good at that.
Thanks.
I know why you got goosebumps the second time. It's because I'm playing scary Halloween music over here.
No, I can't hear your music.
Even so, it's still
But the whole-
playing in your head.
Aura.
Just because you can't physically hear it,
Aura.
you have the sensation of the
Oh.
Now it's churs. I was catching churs.